Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our last Hurlingham virtual talk of the season. We're very lucky to have Suellen Khoury here, a chairman of art, and Lucinda Stevens, Hurlingham art tutor of many years, and they're going to entertain us tonight. First of all, I'll be talking to Lucinda about her journey into her role as an art teacher, and then Suellen and Lucinda will be talking about Hurlingham art, 19 to the dozen, I think, during lockdown, hopefully showing some of the art you have produced. Not all, as there were over 1,500 pieces. Welcome, Suellen and Lucinda.
Hello. Hi, Janie. Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's start by asking Lucinda a little bit about her early days. Lucinda.
See you in a minute.
Yeah,
Have fun.
my love. Okay, taking centre stage. Hi, thank you, Janie. I'm really quite touched, actually, for being asked to just do this little bit of a slot on my own. Because most of lockdown art, I spent teaching or tutoring, sitting on my staircase at home, because it was the only place I could get the signal for my WhatsApp. So you could say that for the last year, I have taught lockdown art from a telephone on a staircase.
Oh my goodness. Can't believe it.
So, yeah, what do you want to ask, Janie?
I just wanted you to tell me a little bit about the early days.
My early years.
Beginnings. How did you start off with all this love of the theatre, art, dance, everything? Start off at the beginning.
Yeah, thanks. I was very inspired. I can remember sort of various points as a little girl with a drawing that was done by my brother on the ceiling of our mutual bunk bed. And he did this amazing drawing on the ceiling. And I remember lying there as a little girl, looking up at this incredible drawing that he'd done on the ceiling and thinking, you know, I really want to do this one day. I want to do this one day. And I used to just sort of scribble over everything, over every book, every school surface, everything I did. And I used to get into an awful lot of trouble because I was forever doodling and using my hands and things like that. And of course, I was lucky because my mother was a painter. So I came from a family of, I came from a family of painters. She went to St. Martin's School of Art.
All right.
She was scouted by Disney in her early career, and they wanted her to be an animator on things like Snow White and all that lot. Yeah, but her family wouldn't let her do it. So yeah, so that was my sort of earliest sort of thought. And then she lived in Putney, and she went to Putney School of Art and Design. And
really? Yeah, my mother went there for a bit.
Oh, right. Well, Putney School of Art, if anybody didn't know, was set up as a kind of an art school for the ladies of Putney. And it was a beautifully set up art school, and it still is. It's one of the best, used to be privately owned schools in London, with beautiful north-facing studio lights. And so I used to go there with her as a little girl, little girl. And we used to sit in the main studio, beautiful, beautiful main studio, next to a big sink.
Yeah.
Coming later, this huge sink. I remember sitting there drawing away with my mum.
How old were you?
About 6.
Oh, really? Very small. Yeah.
Little girl, doodling over everything, but always next to this sink with this bucket. Always remembering the sink and this bucket. So that's how it all started anyway, until I then sort of went off to school proper.
Okay, and then I understand originally you were trained to be a dancer.
I was. That was my first, well, yeah, it was my first sort of foray, if you like, into the arts in life. I went to a school called the Arts Educational School.
Oh, really? Yes, no.
Yeah, some of you would know, and you train in dance, ballet, tap, everything to do with the arts, and it's a great education. I mean, it really is. Doesn't get you to university, but it's a great arts education.
Wonderful.
And I remember doing my I did lots of sort of TV shows, dancing shows, things like that, and I remember doing my A-level art there very clearly. And the night before my A-level art, and in those days when we did A-level art, it was 15 hours doing it. Somebody broke into the studio and creased everybody's work.
Oh, how terrible.
Yeah. And at that stage, I'd got the option to go to Hornsey School of Art. They offered me a place to study.
Wow. Yeah, that's where my mother was as well. They must have been following each other around, I think.
Yeah, they were probably in those, in those years. And so I was offered a place at Hornsey School of Art, but being young and around London, I didn't want to go to art school. I wanted to be out there in the lights. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be out there in the lights. So I chose that road instead at that time. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So you were doing both really. And then I believe you had a dance group at one time.
Oh my God, yes. I went out with my husband. I'd worked as a jobbing dancer on TV shows, stuff like that, all the television and stuff. And then I went with my husband to the Middle East and lived there for 6 years.
Oh, did you? Oh, interesting.
Abu Dhabi. And in those days, Abu Dhabi was one building on the Corniche. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Sand and one high rise. I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
And I was looking around for sort of a dance class, keep fit class, something like that. And there was nothing. And then somebody told me there was this woman who was running this class in an old hall down the Corniche, which is in front of the sea. Mm-hmm. And so I went and I found out that she also had gone to Arts Educational. It was like,
interesting. Yeah.
Really weird. And so she said to me, she was going back home to England. And she said, would you like to, Lucinda, would you like to take the class on? And I said, I would, I'd love it. And I did that for years. And then I found a whole load of girls who had danced like me. And we all said, listen, we're young, why don't we form a group? And so they said, yeah, it'd be great. Things like the rugby balls and the, all the parties and the things in all the flash hotels.
My goodness, what were you called? What was the name of the group?
Well, I was going to call it Elastic. But we decided to call it Stretch. We called it Stretch. So we did that.
Oh, lovely. And you performed a lot, obviously. Well done. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And so when did the art become important to you again?
It came back to London after his time in the Middle East. And this is relevant. And I joined something called the Dance Attic, which a lot of people out there know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Putney, which was run by a great friend of mine from Pounds People, Dee Dee. And I taught there again. I was teaching workout, jazz, stuff like that. And every time I went to the class, I'd pass Putney School of Art and Design every day. And something called me. I just kept thinking, I must enroll, I must go back. And I did. I enrolled.
Oh, wow.
I went to them and I said, I want to do your diploma course. I want to do some art. And they said, oh, yeah. Let's see what you've done. And, youth, I thought I was the bee's knees. I thought I was great. So I showed them my work and total silence. It's just like, and it was a bit of they said to me, have you done any life class? And I said, of course I've done life class. I've done lots of life drawing. And I produced this sort of stick figure, really, I've still got it somewhere. And I keep threatening to show people. It was awful, but they took it.
Still, they took you. They must have seen there was potential.
Thank you. Yes, which is where, funnily enough, it ties in with the lockdown. That I always think, whenever people say, "I'm no good, I can't do it, I can't possibly do it," and I think, well, I used to be there as well. I was there, and everybody can do it if they really want to work hard at it. It can be done.
The hard work, isn't it? Really, yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got in when you were doing that? You were talking about life classes. Did you have some fun doing life classes?
Yeah, they were some that if you've how many people get to do a life class, and you're talking about standing there with a complete stranger with no clothes on in front of you, and when none of us are very used to that kind of thing. Really. Yeah, but they are incredibly professional. They really are. You don't talk to them, you don't touch them, you don't it's completely professional and it's wonderful. And the first time I was in a studio where we were going to do life, I had a girlfriend with me and we were behind our easels and we were so nervous about how we were going to react to this nude person standing in front of us that we had to draw, that we made a pact and we said, right, we knew it was going to be a guy. So we stood there by our easels and we did a countdown and we did like 1, 2, 3, okay, turn. and we turned, and this guy was unbelievably gorgeous. And we just
Wow.
we just sort of went, oh my God, he's lovely. So, you know, that took a lot of the pressure off. He was great, but very professional and very, you know, very, very good. And for ages, we did these drawings of various nude people, right? And we'd have these nude drawings, and then there'd be these huge areas in the bit down below which we'd miss, and then we just couldn't handle it. And then
But you got over it, I hope.
sorry,
You got over it, I hope.
we did. And then you were always encouraged to take your work home and stick it up all over the place to, you know, to appraise it.
Yep.
And in those early days, I was sort of kind of doing nude drawings all the time. And I just didn't think, and I'd go home and I'd be sticking up all these nude drawings all over the kitchen like this. And one of my children, who was quite young at the time, would invite his little friends for tea. And I was known as this particular person's very rude mummy.
I can imagine.
It was considered very rude. Yeah. And then one more story you wanted me to tell you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, which you know about.
Yeah.
Is a guy called Stanley. We had a model called Stanley, and he was about 60 years of age, and he came in from outside London on his moped every day. And Stanley had broken every single bone in his body, which made him very interesting to draw, but he really had broken bone. But Stanley wore a toupee, okay? So he had this toupee on, and he'd stand up there and he'd do this with his mouth. He'd go like that all the time through the class. And of course, as he did that, his toupee would move all over his head like this, you see. So we'd be all trying to draw him, and we'd be kind of like, hang on a minute, Snake, hang on a minute. We couldn't get, so the tutor would sort of often say, Stanley, will you please stop doing this and keep your toupee still? And one day Stanley came to the school, and we heard all this commotion going on downstairs. We didn't know what was going on. And Stanley then marched into the studio with his helmet on, all right? What's going on? And apparently Stanley had forgotten his toupee, and he was refusing to model unless he kept his helmet on. And I swear to God, to this day, we have the drawings of what we did with Stanley with his helmet on.
I think that's a wonderful story.
Right, so there was some, you know, there was a lot of serious study, and I was very fortunate. But you know, there was some very, very funny moments too, which was great fun, because it was during the years when my children were young. I had plenty of time on my hands, so I had plenty of time to train. And
And then I believe that you then did some classes at the Royal Academy.
I was very lucky. Yeah, I mean, amazing moments have come about. I was made a drawing scholar at Mal Galleries, in the 90s, early 90s, and one of my awards was to be able to go and train at the Royal Drawing School.
A real honour.
Yeah, and I sat there. I cannot tell you, Janie. I sat there in that place where the greats have sat, and they haven't changed the studio, thinking, God, is this the bench that Constable or someone else would have sat on? It was an amazing moment. Some very well-known people like Ken Howard, Jason Boyer, who's sadly not with us anymore, Con Holly, who was an RA. I'm lucky that I had a very large selection of very different tutors.
Great.
And it helps you. It's like you would know probably from your dancing.
Yeah. And were they all good teachers? I can imagine some weren't.
No, and I really mean that. And they were so disappointing, some of them. And sometimes, not Ken and all that lot, but sometimes the better somebody was, the worse the tutor they were.
That's quite normal, because they can't see how difficult it is. They find it so easy. That was good.
And you'd be really lucky if you got any praise at all. And it's not why you did it, but you'd work your guts out. Day, standing there all day, arm raised. And then at the end, they'd say nothing to you, or they'd give you no indication about what you needed to do to better what you're doing or understand what you're doing. And I always remembered that. And it's kind of, help me now, you know, while I'm here, while I'm at Hurlingham.
Yeah, is that what got you into teaching, do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's also helped me know what I mustn't do, what I shouldn't do. You learn from people who are not good, and I've taken all the best bits from the people that I learned from. You know, and it does help you. And of course, the discipline, which is why I think you probably asked me about my dancing years, the discipline that I had as a dancer has really informed things that I do, how I am with people, because we were very disciplined.
Yes, discipline is everything, especially in ballet and things. So when did you start teaching at Hurlingham, and how did you get into that?
Well, I've been a member for many, many years. My children grew up here at the club. And, you know, just sort of the occasional players show would come on, and they knew that I'd painted. I'd put it, you know, people knew that I painted. My daughter was part of players. She said, oh, my mum painted, blah, blah. So I'd do the sets, you know, I'd offer to paint the sets on various shows. And then, sorry?
Great fun.
It was, but everybody else, you know, pitched in as well. And then I did one of the big pantomimes. I think it was Cinderella.
Yes, or Snow White or something.
Snow White, that was right. Sorry, it was Snow White. Yeah, I did the big pantomime with all those great big huge backcloths, which was incredibly difficult up one of those ladders. Because there's nothing behind the backcloth, right? So you know, normally when you're painting, you've got something to kind of work on, but these backcloths were very, you know, straight line with a backcloth that's moving like that, you know. So I did that, and then I won the swimming pool painting competition.
Oh, did you?
Which the club put out. Yeah, the old pool before it was. But sadly, that was stolen. So.
Oh no, that's true.
It was never found again. And then just sort of started to do drawing classes, you know, and the club liked what I did, and then I started to do the 7-week courses. Which I love, because drawing, which my mother always taught me, and I was always taught by good drawers, is the skeleton, the basis of good art.
Yes, I'm going to come to you, definitely.
And if you don't know how to draw, somebody who is quite advanced will kind of know whether you're, you know, whether you understand it or not, and it's a good basis. And so I did that, and that's how. And then the art group, the Tuesday art group, which is where the lockdown comes from, was needing somebody to step in.
Okay.
And they said that, so that's how.
There you were, and here we go. And so thank you, Lucinda, because that leads us very nicely into inviting Suellen back into the room.
There she is,
and
conspirator.
Is she here with a cup of tea?
Thank you, Janie.
Has she got a cup of tea? Yes, she promised a cup of tea. Now, Suellen, let's bring you in with Lucinda to tell us about art at Hurlingham during lockdown. Over to you, Suellen and Lucinda.
I've got a lovely cup of tea here. Look at that. Isn't that
beautiful? Oh, wonderful.
Right then.
How did we decide to start lockdown art?
Right. Well, you've been running the Tuesday art group like every other week or every week, depending, for a few years, which is how I met you, really, isn't it? No, I did do one of your classes.
You did.
And I would join in those Tuesday art groups. And then when I took over as chairman, I decided that I was going to push this group and really get it going. So we had just about started. We had a few months of that, didn't we?
Yeah,
and
we did.
Numbers were picking up, and it was going brilliantly. And then, of course, talk of COVID, lockdown, all of that starting to happen.
Yeah.
And we were already starting to think, okay, what does lockdown mean? Everything's going to close.
Everything.
No tennis, no croquet, no cinema, no this, no that, stuck in your houses, whatever. What can we do to make it a little bit easier? Even though at that stage we thought it was probably going to be a month or two.
I mean, none of us did we? I mean, you know, in the beginning of that, it was all like, just a few weeks, we'll manage. Yeah,
so I rang Lucinda and I just said, you know, why don't we try and keep up this Tuesday art group? Okay, we won't see each other. I'm going to pour the tea. But we can get members involved and we'll tell them what to do. So Lucinda would put together some kind of brief, and you thought about this a lot, because we had a kind of program, really.
Yeah.
And we just had a go. So I sent an email out basically saying, okay, though we're all stuck in our houses, many people are isolated, seeing nobody at all. Who out there would be interested in continuing the Tuesday art group, but from home, but will have access to Lucinda by WhatsApp?
Oh God,
for the same time scale, the 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we'd give them a brief, you give them a brief, we talk about it together, yeah. I'd send the brief, and then on that Tuesday, we'd say, right, ready, steady, start. By then I'd pick up all the names and numbers of people and put them on this WhatsApp group that got enormous, didn't it?
Yeah, well, no, let's go, we'll take that on a little. I think what horrified Suellen in the beginning was because anybody who knows me out there knows I'm a complete technophobe. I am useless. It is not my thing. And she kept saying to me, oh, well, you know, we can do it on Zoom, Lucinda, we can do this. And I kept saying, no, we can't, I can't do it. There's no way I'm going to do this. So she said, well, how can you do it then? So I said, well, we'll do it on WhatsApp, which is where I came in the beginning. Yeah. So I said, I could just about do it on WhatsApp. And as I say, you know,
again, we weren't sure how can you run an art group
on WhatsApp? It's from a phone. Originally, it was from a phone. It wasn't like on these screens. It was so tiny, and I was going bog-eyed. I mean, I've got glasses anyway, but you know, I was going bog-eyed, and I thought, how the hell am I going to manage to look at all this art?
But then I think your son showed you how to put it onto a computer.
Yes,
WhatsApp.
I suddenly got to work a computer.
Wow.
So how it would work, as I said, was we do a brief together on a Monday evening. I'd write it all up.
Yep.
And then we'd ask people to tell us who was going to join in.
Yep. At
5 to 10, Lucinda would say, okay, send me a photo on WhatsApp of your setup.
That's right.
Whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then get cracking.
That's right. And then report.
Right. And then at about 11 o'clock, coffee break time.
Yeah.
Send in a photo of what you've done so far.
Yeah. What sort of briefs did you have? What sort of briefs did
we have? So many. I have to
How many did we have? How many briefs?
We have done 38 sessions in lockdown.
Was it more?
That's just in lockdown. There was a little window of time in between where we could go to the club.
50.
But
probably about 50.
A lot. But with the amount of people in that first lockdown, we were having about between 30 and 45 people a week.
There was one week when it was a bit manic.
Yeah.
It was like,
because Lucinda would
45 people.
If you imagine people are sending in their photos, you know, what do you think, Lucinda, is this?
Twice.
How am I doing?
So that's 80, 90 images.
So Lucinda would every single person. Every single person, and you didn't know half of them. Now I feel like we've all got to know each other.
And the other interesting thing about that was that you get to know people by what they're doing. So, you know, in the beginning it was all like, you know, who's that name? Can't see that name, can't see that. But after a while, you know the style. And so you just go, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. Oh yeah, that's so-and-so. So you get to know.
So, but the very first one, because all these artists, you know, a lot of them that we don't know. No, you didn't know. You know, what were they capable of? Were they beginners? Were they advanced? Were they whatever? So like Lucinda said earlier, pencil drawings, black and white. Let's see what people can do. Yeah. So that was the very first.
It was. What did we do first? What was the very first one?
Our very first one, where we were flapping around, was because remember we're stuck inside. Says draw an object in your kitchen, from your kitchen, something, anything that's in your kitchen.
The actual problem was that we knew that through this first lockdown that everything had to be domestic. So it wasn't a question of saying go out there into the garden or go out there into the fields or wherever. Everything had to be domestically.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah,
you know, very clever.
We did start in the
let's have a look. Let's show a couple.
Well, this is where I just have to move things around a wee bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share with you just a couple of pictures from the very first.
Yeah, I love that. That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Pencil drawings. Yeah, love it.
Look,
domestic. Love it.
There you go.
Oh wow.
Eggs in a basket
and someone's on the alcohol already. Yeah. So this is the excitement of first week. So this is just two pictures.
Yeah.
But out of, I think we probably, as people started to learn about this lockdown, we had about 15 or 20 people. But you were able to start to see, okay, she's painted before. Oh, she's great. But you wanted us to, you wanted to push that a little bit for a few weeks. Let's stick to the black and white. So the next couple of weeks, again, we tried to stick to black and white.
Right.
And we did, I think there were more black and white, but let's go tonal, see what people can manage with that.
There, look, you see, I mean, everybody can see there, you know, within those 4 drawings, just in those 4 drawings, 4 different styles, completely. It just amazes me, and that's what I absolutely adore. And in fact, if we showed every single person's work, everything would be different. Look at those.
No, but I want you to note in this is our 2nd week into lockdown.
Yeah.
What objects do you see that everyone was talking about? I have to tell you, quite a few people put toilet rolls in their paintings. So it was either toilet roll or alcohol popped up quite a lot in the painting. So,
okay, right, yeah. So where we got there?
And then we did another black and white week, and then you said, you know what, colour. I now have a gist of what everybody is more or less doing. So I'm just going to come out of this a second. Here we go. Oops.
Ooh. Can you get out?
Oh, sorry. There we go. I have to tell you, I'm in training for this. I've been learning this morning. There we go.
I could do it, I assure you.
Yeah, and then what happened was that, you know, everybody realised that lockdown wasn't going to be a quick, you know,
quick fix. Yeah.
Fashion, yeah, exactly. And things had to sort of start to get a little bit more kind of, you know, long term. And in order to become more long term, we needed to kind of get some colour going and a little bit more. There were a lot of people out there that just wanted to paint. They didn't necessarily want to.
Was it a sorted medium, or did you tell?
Well, now you were like, right, let's see what you've got. Let's go in with the colour. We're still in the home. Let's do something fun.
Let's see what you've got.
Shoes. It was shoes.
Was it shoes?
It was shoes.
Everybody loved that one. That was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was shoes. And
where do we go?
Here we go.
God, look at this. Yes.
Oops. Nearly there.
Yeah, good. Okay, so just a little selection.
Oh, lovely.
So we actually had a lot of people that week, which was great.
Are they what we've got? Yeah.
No, I've just put those 3 up for the moment because it rolls into more. We became quite excited about clothes
shoes
and things.
Shoes, yeah. Everybody had shoes. You know, when you're doing the brief, you have to think. You know, like what's everybody got? What equipment? You know, they're not all set up with sort of art studios like some of us have. You know,
and we're also realizing we weren't actually wearing our shoes, and that we wouldn't wear our shoes. I mean, nice shoes for how many months on end?
Yeah, right. So
but I want to take note, there is one black and white one here, though we had many, many colours, because you have to see, again, what is on people's mind.
Yeah.
Lockdown, meet up. And that's one of our gentleman artists.
Yeah. Who shall remain?
Yeah.
Spare his blushes, but he's out there.
And yes, you know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Right, I just have to move this up here a second. And let's... Yeah. Oops.
So where did we go from there?
We then went on to a really fun one.
Okay.
So we went from shoes to, you said,
hats. Yes, hats. Look at those. Aren't they gorgeous? Lovely.
No.
We're just getting a small selection, obviously, guys, because
well, you obviously had so many, didn't you?
Yeah, it would be too much. It was, you know, we haven't chosen favourites or anything. We just chosen a cross section of things.
Yes, lovely.
And it was hats, and it happened to coincide with
ascot.
Yay! So it made everybody really happy. So we said, come on, you know, think about hats, think about ascots, and we got a huge.
So though there aren't some ascot ones in this one, we had a lot of people, do hats or things that they might have worn to ascot if they went to ascot. But it was that weekend. It was. So I actually called the brief. What? No ascot?
Yeah,
I did an ascot hat.
You did. There was some nice ones.
My wedding.
Is that all we had on the hats?
On the hats, I think so.
Okay.
But again, remember we're still at home, so
Bit of Tommy Cooper there, Alexi.
that would have been one of the guys.
Look at that bunch of broccoli on the right there. See, the head of broccoli. Sorry.
We are on to the vegetables.
Yeah. Look at that lovely head of. Now that could be a tree.
Yeah.
Couldn't it? Come on. That could be a wonderful kind of magical wood tree. It's beautiful.
It's all about the colour, and we're still stuck at home. We're still looking out our windows, but let's raid the fridge. So I loved these. I loved doing the vegetables.
Yes.
Look at those.
Here.
Slow down.
There we go. Vegetable prep.
Oh, wonderful.
Gorgeous colour. Everybody was loving,
Yeah.
you know,
You see
getting into colour. And again, yes, it's very clever. She
Yeah.
said that. Different mediums. Each one of those is a different medium. You've got oil on that side there. You've got, I think that's watercolour, isn't it? No, gosh.
Yeah,
And then you've got watercolour down at the bottom. And what
ink.
was lovely about that period, and all through the period, is that people were just using, you know, mediums that they were comfortable with.
Mhm.
Also, you've got to remember that, you know, because of lockdown, it wasn't easy to go and get materials.
No.
Unless, you know,
we're into
online.
June by now.
Yeah,
we're right into June. I mean, we had other things in between. We had hobbies, we had flowers.
What else?
Hobbies was rather funny. I don't have pictures of it, but people were putting the things that they were missing, their hobbies, their golf kit, or their cycling kit, or things like that. So
things like that. That was really good.
Yep.
What else?
What else? Now we had a few more other things: culinary reflections.
Oh, no, hang on a minute. Culinary was good because in the kitchen. Everybody was in the kitchen. You see, because everybody kind of got into cooking.
I didn't put cooking ones on.
No, I know you did.
Too much food.
But anyway, everybody was in the kitchen, and there was tons of involvement with that.
Oh, that's when people did coffee makers.
They did coffee makers. They did toasters. They did everything that you name that you'd use as equipment in the kitchen.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I can't even remember what I did on that one.
No.
Probably a jug or no, I don't know.
No.
Don't remember. Alcohol bottle. Right. We're going to actually move straight on from this to a super interesting one where Lucinda decided we were going to forget the objects. We were going to go with ourselves. So
Okay.
Hang on, can we just?
Do you want me to take us out of this?
What was happening there? Yeah. What was happening there with the thing about ourselves is that I thought we were spending a lot of time in lockdown, and it wasn't quite the same as when we went into the second lockdown. We were in a way, we were getting a bit shell shocked, and we were all getting a tiny bit concerned about how long this thing was going to go on. It wasn't quite such fun as it was in the beginning. And I decided that I thought I wanted to see what everybody was looking like.
We've done March, April, May, June. Yeah. We've done 14 weeks of it now.
Yeah, and I was still sitting on my staircase.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to see what people look like. So I set the thing about your face. I wanted to see their faces.
Yeah. And what was interesting was how what some of the portraits that came back.
Yeah.
So
amazing. Look at some of these. Amazing.
Now.
Yeah.
What stands out? What are people thinking about? It's not normal portraiture, is it?
It wasn't. It wasn't.
No.
Very powerful. That one on the left there.
Left, very scared.
Yes, I mean, yes, exactly. Probably was. You know, querulous about the future, not quite knowing what is going to come along, and this strange thing kind of clamped to your face. But to also make a piece of work out of it, I thought that was very brave of everybody. Yeah, and they did it willingly. Everybody did it most willingly. We got any more of that time?
Not of the FaceTime.
That's a shame.
The face.
But a lot of people did put a lot of their masks on and drew their masks. Faces. So you got a lot of the eyes, and as you say, Janie, looking in, there was quite a lot of fear going on at that stage.
Yeah.
But looking back, we're looking back at all of them. We're not going to show all of them because there were an awful lot of them.
Yeah.
There is a sadness in everybody, or just a. But these two, I mean, this is going to be our it's one of those ones you'll always remember for our lockdown art.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Then we did
God, this is great.
something completely different.
Out there were so many people with so many different styles and so many things, mediums. This is
digital art.
Amazing.
And we've never seen anyone do that.
Unbelievable. This is digital art, and I did perspective, didn't I?
Yes. So this was near and far. So something close up, something far.
But look at that! Isn't that just so powerful? Is it?
And we were allowed to start walking around outside now, I think. So
Or people went outside, took photographs, and then came back.
Yeah.
And worked at home and did them that way. But look at that! That was just done on a digital iPad. You know,
anybody paints with our iPads.
Yeah.
So that was fun because we had every medium. going actually.
Yeah, that
so
was good.
in all of them.
Yep.
So that was
That's great fun.
yeah.
Near and far.
And then we wanted to get people were cheering up a little bit. I think we were starting to go for we are now into July.
Yeah, July.
But we were allowed to start going for walks. I think we were allowed to go to the Hurlingham and walk around the park. The weather was nice, and we were still in lockdown, but there was a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not outside yet, but the joy and the colours were coming.
Drapery. This was a lovely
drapery.
Yeah. Thought, hey, let's go with the masters here. Of course, in all forms of sort of study, drapery in the olden days, in the studios and the ateliers. You had to study drapery. Great, everybody studies drapery. So I thought, why not? Let's do our own drapery. And there's some
Wonderful
quality,
wonderful,
beautiful stuff. This is just a infant. Look at it,
yeah.
Absolutely. Let everybody see quite.
Yeah.
Amazing talent.
Hang on a minute. I must stress that these people are not all top whack from the start. They just worked hard and spent a lot of time, sort of just studying and doing it. And as the lockdown progressed, a lot of people just got better and better and better. It's like, oh my God, this is getting really quite high quality.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But at the halfway point, like I said, 11:15. So my phone would be on silent, but I think, quickly, I best show Lucinda what I've done so far. I click on it, and there'd be like 97 messages.
Wow.
2 or 3 pictures, like 97. So I'd have my cup of coffee or tea. I would read every single one that Lucinda would answer to everybody else, because and a lot of us artists have said that we learned from what you were telling other artists.
But that's
and I know that my art has gone definitely from down there to a little bit up there, just by looking at what you were going to say and thinking, I know what she's going to tell that person, and then it would stick, and you'd be so proud of us, wouldn't you? Next week you'd say, yes,
I am
well
so proud
done.
of them out there.
You're listening.
There's a great story that happened to me at art school. There was one woman who used to come every single week, relentlessly to do a picture of something. And every week she'd say the same thing. She'd say, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I really don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. And every week she would be taught by the tutor that maybe what she was not doing very well, she ought to maybe do in another way. And she'd keep coming back going, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And eventually this tutor turned around to her. This is when we're all listening. And he said, do you know what? Let's call her Betty. Do you know what, Betty? You have this incredible knack to make something quite beautiful look quite ordinary. we were all listening, and we all stopped at our easels and sort of went, oh my God. And she turned around and she went, thank you, Eric.
I would have done that. I would not get it. Just went, I think that would have been me. I'd have gone, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got one of your favourite ones now.
Okay.
We were given this tricky subject, brief, transposing. And I would say that most of us didn't know what you're talking about. Like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Taking something from something and making it into something else. So it was a painting. So what I wanted them to do was to take from a classical painting, if they could find one, and make it their own. Transposing, taking it from what it is. Yeah. Look, I wonder if you can recognize any of the painters, very famous painters here, Yeah, you've got, oops, hang on. You charging, no, I think that's the wrong one, isn't it? Go back to the pasters, back again. Can you go back? Back before that. Yeah, there.
You could see I'm still learning.
And from the transposing.
Oh, wow.
Look, Modigliani there on the left there. He absolutely, look at it. I mean, the humor was amazing, yeah? And then you've got Picasso in the center with the loo rolls. And
that was Girl with Dove. It's now Girl with Toilet Roll.
thought it was.
And we were doing all the NHS things and stuff as well with all the rainbows.
Yeah, and you've got the girl with the pearl earring looking like a, you know, a COVID nurse on the right.
Yes, of course it is. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. See? But
Yeah.
isn't that wonderful? And everybody came back with things like, I don't know, sort of Jane Austen characters with sort of rolls in the trees and things like that. I mean, it's just like completely wacky, but it did
Girls with flowers.
Girls with flowers.
Changed to iPads, iPhones.
Wow, yes.
Yeah.
Girls with flowers.
Girls with flowers?
Looking on their iPad. I don't know who that was now. But that was really clever. But suddenly everybody's imagination started to sort of really...
Wonderful imagination.
Yeah, they were incredible. So that was good.
And then we had a summer break, and everybody who was able to go away, I think, went away. There was holidays. We had a nice summer break. Everything was happening at the club. It was nice, but we were going to resume. We thought normally once we got back into the club in September that we'd be back doing normal Tuesday art clubs. But actually, that very first Tuesday back, the weather was so freezing. We decided actually we would do another one in lockdown, just we could have met at the club. Yeah. Okay. Though we weren't allowed to meet more than 6 people. Yeah. So we went back in the club, and we did a whole a few weeks of different things. Yeah. And we keep going back home to do it in lockdown where the weather wasn't nice before we did really go into lockdown. And we had a wonderful one called Stacks. And again, whoops.
What's it there?
That's good.
There is this Stacks. Yes, this is Stacks. So here we go. Which was basically stacking up anything.
So again, you know, the ideas were getting a bit sort of kind of thin on the ground. You know, I was thinking, well, how much more domesticity can we all handle here? You know. And look, I mean, everything. Look at the middle one with the you know, washing part.
Yeah, we were sort of back into a semi-lockdown, weren't we?
Priceless. But you know, also there's some great humour here. If you look at that one, just hang on a minute. If you look at that one on the beans one, it's turned upside down. Just for the humour.
I just love the washing. It's like,
such imagination. Yeah,
real imagination. And then we had a few more before Christmas, and we felt people were getting a little bit funny again.
The interesting thing about it is that I think, again, where I found it quite interesting was that we all recognise, I mean, everybody was having a hard time of it. But I thought that, you know, you could feel it. You could feel it in people's attitudes. You could feel it in their willingness to take on new ideas and things like that. People were getting tired and people were getting a bit low. And I thought this is going to be hard work now to pick everybody up,
lift them.
Yeah, and I had to dig really deep, you know, because I wasn't feeling great myself, and I had to dig really deep to lift the group, you know, so that we were going to keep going. We weren't going to stop, and you know, I was going to get everything from these girls and guys, you know, and they kept going, and it was difficult.
But then it was leading up to Christmas time, and the Christmas was good.
Yeah.
Then we all went into lockdown again, but we all had a bit of a break. I think we saw families, things like that. But weirdly enough, January, though we knew we were back into lockdown, I think it became a bit fed up after. But that very first session, we said, right, we'll start again January. You gave us a subject of jugs, and people went full on into it. It was like there was
there was a renewed energy.
Which was lovely.
To deal with it, you know, there was.
Oh my goodness, I love those jugs as well.
It's lovely. I mean, again, you know, just some beautiful, you know, we're not, please believe me, everybody out there, we're not picking what we thought was the best. There was so much, Jenny, there was so much to choose from.
Yeah, I can imagine.
About, you know, and
choosing from 1,500.
If there was anybody out there, you know, who is from our groups, that it's no reflection that we didn't maybe choose yours. We didn't.
Just interesting selections, like glasses
with what we had.
And there's another lovely one here.
Look at those.
Oh yes.
The glass. I mean, if I look at everything on the whole, I think it's so.
I so wanted. You know, I kept saying, you know, I so wanted, and this is where tonight is so special for us because I was the one who kept banging on about, we've got to show this work. We've got to show, you know, we've got to show this work. We've got to get a huge, great big wall or something and show everybody's work, because it's just so precious.
Wonderful. Yeah.
We would still like to have some kind of event though, wouldn't we?
Be nice.
So yeah, so this is this year. This was fun. This was exciting.
The food was always a very well attended, if you like.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Everybody loved that.
You just said do raw fish or prawns or
and
seafood.
Everybody went out and got them as well. It wasn't, I didn't, you know, I said, look, just go and get some fish fingers or something like that. And I think, funnily enough, I think one of those people is out there today who actually did some fish fingers.
Yes, somebody did. Plastic thing. There were a lot of lobsters.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Lobster, are we?
I think
up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So I felt that people have been getting very fed up in this lockdown. Just tell us my little alarm going off. But I felt that the joy in the colours.
Did we do any more face?
We didn't do any more.
You do any more face?
We had more face where everyone was happier, but I didn't put any of those.
No,
ones
okay, but
on.
we did. That was an interesting. Oh, look at this! And then we did
shiny.
Let's just go with sparklies,
sparkly
to lift everybody up, you know. But I mean, actually, it was just my excuse, A, to have a little look in everybody's jewellery boxes, around everybody's houses. I mean, you think I did this for no reason? Of course I didn't. I did this to have a good old nosy. No, this is some of this work.
Yeah,
here.
That's a digital one there.
The one at the top right there is a digital
to colour.
Okay. Just shows you how to done it.
This one.
Yeah.
This is oil, I think.
An oil.
Isn't it?
That's an oil there. Yeah.
Love it.
Wonderful.
And this is only done, Janie and everyone, in the session. You know, you're not talking about week. We're talking about between 10 and 1.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
In that time.
Amazing.
Do it within that time, and it just shows you that, you know, some of the amazing concentration that people.
But now we're almost done. We were almost up to this. Was this was our 32nd session, and we've had a few more since then. Yeah. You did do a full face one, which you said, which I didn't put pictures on, but you said there was a noticeable difference with people. This time round doing their portraits, there was the confidence and there was a bit more joy. You could see it, and we had to compare our faces from before. And I didn't want to put it because they're quite personal faces, and we all know who we are.
But I think it was lovely. Yeah, it was lovely seeing how people were that last year and seeing them now, and just a huge difference in just their countenance.
Yeah, no, we hadn't really realised until you were saying that. You were saying, look at your picture from last year, compare it. And it was true. From that sadness of we're in lockdown, it was all still, but to this time, the hope, there was right at the end of the tunnel. People are starting to get vaccinated. We're nearly there. But we are going to
memory was a good one.
End on some memories, which you gave us a couple of weeks ago, and it was basically some memories of things that we remembered doing either as a child or just things we'd done in the past, going to a concert, traveling, because within these we feel that we want to feel that hope has come back. We will do these things again. This girl went to Venice. These were little objects when she went to Venice.
Oh wow.
This I think is an Australian trip. You know, maybe they've got family in Australia. Life will happen again. So these memories, some of them were beautiful, but some, to me, give that hope of.
I think what was interesting was that when you tapped into people, because people were, you know, they were quite receptive to doing slightly emotional things. At the beginning, everybody was very kind of like, you know, but after a while, everybody had been on such a journey on their own. You know, in their own lives and their own worlds, that they were very open to being more sensitive about. And funnily enough, there were some amazing pieces of work from people doing sensitive things. It was just quite unique. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I think they were little objects on the left, a little bit. Her father.
Oh, the Rolling Stones.
It was collaged on that one, and this wonderful at the top. And I think most of us will remember
The Rolling Stones concert.
The Rolling
She
Stones.
copied a ticket she had. And
Oh,
but to me that's a wonderful memory of a concert, but we all want that again, don't we? We want here's
and
a
down
travel
here,
to Morocco.
somebody's traveling to Morocco and their memories of what they saw and how they felt there. And there was some incredible, vibrant work, you know, from that. And whenever you ask people to sort of kind of tap into those moments, it would come pouring out. I really mean it, Janie. It just would like pour out of people. They wanted to share. And everybody was sharing with one another. That was the nice thing, because it was all up there, on the you know, the WhatsApp. Thank you, for everybody to see. Everybody was sharing and going, "Oh, I like that. Oh, that's great. Oh, wow, I love, you know."
Aren't you doing stories, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, this was my granddaughter's christening dress that's been passed through the family, or this is something my father gave me, or this is an opera I went to in 1960 something.
Yeah.
It's been quite an emotional time, actually. I think
And
the whole
kind,
year
and
journey.
kind. Everybody in our art community that has joined us has been so responsive and so, you know, welcoming and non-judgmental. I love that, because in my world, like I explained to you earlier on, I came from a very judgmental world. The dance world is very judgmental. The art world is very judgmental. And we weren't, were we? Everybody just
such good therapy as well. I mean, it's good for people, really good for people to express themselves like this. It's wonderful what you've done.
That's why, thank you so much. That's why Art in Lockdown, I think, has done more than just art.
We had some lovely,
you know, I think
messages,
it's helped people a lot of time. A lot of people were on their own, including me, on their own. I was still sitting there every night on my phone on the stairs, waiting for somebody to phone me.
They gave a focus. That's what we had a few times. People would say, "You've given a focus to my week."
Okay, well, on that note,
rolling on.
We're going to have to wrap it up so we can have time for your questions.
Well, actually, we have come to the end of that. But most importantly, we want to thank everybody who joined in with this whole journey so far. We haven't quite finished yet, have we?
No.
But we really would
yet.
like to thank you, Janie, for inviting us on to chat away about what we've done this last year.
And thank you, Terry. Thank you everybody behind the scenes there, and Hurlingham Club as well, to have given us, you know, and Rosie, as well, to you know, just to allow us to have actually done this. I mean, there weren't many other things going on at the club. We were, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both so much for the most exciting program of art. It's obvious you helped so many people over lockdown and helped their artistic skills as well. So it was a really good effort. Thank you so much for that.
We're a good team.
We are a good team. We rub each other up the wrong way sometimes, but I always tell her to shut up in the end.
Now I'm going to hand you over to Terry, because I'm sure he's got some questions for you, and then I'll come back. Okay, over to Terry.
Hello both. Very enjoyable talk. Had me giggling behind the screen there. So I've got a few questions. First question is how many people were taking part in the classes each week?
Okay, there were, at the beginning, we had, because there's a regular group who love doing your classes, we'd have the regular group of 15, let's say the very first week. But as lockdown continued, and I put it on the website through you, Terry, that look, we're offering this if anyone wants to join in. By the height of it, for at least 5 weeks or 6 weeks, we had about 42 people a week, which is a huge amount. And some would go, others would join in. I'd be adding them to WhatsApp. And I remember just showing you the WhatsApp group saying, you do realize we now have 48 people on this.
and then friends would maybe phone me in the evening or something like that. And they'd say, you know, do you want to talk for a bit? No.
I can't do this anymore. So that was at the height of it. But then we settled down to I would say a comfortable 25 people every week, which could sometimes leap up to 30, sometimes go down to 18 or 20, but about early 20s, which was actually really lovely. And it was comfortable. That 20, 25
was doable.
Are still doing it. Still,
they are. It's amazing. And they've got better. And that's what's such an absolute thing.
Yeah.
They've got better.
Good.
It's wonderful.
So quite a lot.
Thank you. Lucinda, which do you prefer, painting or teaching people to paint?
Oh, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Well, the interesting thing I was saying to Suellen the other day is you lot out there have all done tons of work during lockdown. I've done none. I've done absolutely zilch. I haven't done any work. Difficult one, actually, Terry. I love painting, obviously, because it's my, it's my thing. It's my own thing. But you know something? I really love teaching because I don't feel that any of us who are teachers or whatever own anything that we do. It's my job to pass it through that I've been taught, pass it through to anybody else that wants to learn. I don't own any of this stuff. And the one thing I found kind of sad about my mother, love her madly, as I did, she was an incredible artist, but she never shared her talent with anyone or anybody. She wouldn't pass it on.
Shame.
And I find that a real gift. It's great. It's a real buzz to be able to pass it on.
Not every artist, great artist, is a good tutor.
Said no.
And you are a really great tutor.
Listen to that. I gave her the money earlier.
She did. She's
Yeah.
also.
Well, you obviously are from the results. We've seen the results.
We listen to you.
I'm a bossy girl.
She's incredibly bossy. She has no worries about saying, no, that's terrible, or do it with your left hand, or tear it up and let's start again, and blah, blah. But we listen and we improve. And then when we have, when she praises, honestly, it's like this made your day. So you're not bad. Well,
Very
you won't
important.
chuck you for a bit longer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, another question aimed at you, Lucinda. Are you looking forward to hosting art classes in the flesh? Do you have any planned at the club?
What do you mean, in the nude?
Well, whichever you like, but actually face to face instead of via a virtual screen.
I booked you in, Terry. You said you'd do it.
I will. I just have to lose the 2 stone I put on over lockdown.
Yeah.
No, much more fun.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I really mean it. And although we're going to go on, doing this, really,
The masky thing.
not the masky thing, the looking at the phone and the looking at the small screen, you cannot beat doing it face to face. You cannot beat it. As a creator, as a painter, as I am, I can't. You can't replicate that. And you can respond so much quicker. I've had to really learn how to respond through the screen. And also remember, when you get an image through a screen from a camera, it's not the same as when you see it in the flesh. So, all these online, I hate them, on these online exhibitions that people are going to have to go into now, a not such a good piece of work can be made to look really great on the screen. And you see it in real life and you go, oh my God. And the same the other way around. A beautiful piece of work can look quite flat. So yeah, I am looking forward to doing live classes, very much so.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, question for both of you. Do each of you have a favourite week of lockdown art?
Ooh, wow. Can we just check our list?
I think for me, it was the Ascot week. I loved the hats. I got really excited about that. I did my
fashion model.
I did my wedding hat.
Oh, no, yes, you did.
Yeah. No, and it was actually, for me, it was the first time I used a different medium on top of my watercolor. I discovered pastel as well. Just a little hint of pastel.
Yes,
I was so proud of my hat.
Yes, you did, and it was beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
I
loved that, and I loved everyone's work in that week. It was really colourful. You liked the fish, didn't you?
No, I'll tell you what I really did like. It won't be a surprise to those that know me. The face.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah. The face doesn't lie. And also, what's so interesting is that we all like to draw and paint ourselves and show ourselves in the way that we think we know what we look like. We hope we know what we look like. And it's a bit like catching your face in a mirror suddenly. And you go, oh, that's not me. God, I got more jowly, or I got this, and you've got to have a lot of courage, and you've got to be quite honest to do that. There was a portrait which some of you might remember of the Queen that Lucian Freud did. And there was this huge uproar about her fingers, you know, and everybody said, oh my God, she's got really stubby fingers, you know, well, they probably were. I mean, I hate to say it, they probably were. And you just have to be real. You have to be real. Yeah. And I'm into people being authentic, I'm afraid.
Yeah, wow.
You did make it, we did a half face, as well as the first face,
yes,
and then the other face.
Yes.
We did a half face at one point, which was
very interesting.
Very weird.
No two sides of your face are the same.
Oh, interesting.
We had to put them together.
Yeah.
Great.
One reads one way and one reads the other way, and you put the face together and you have the character.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, clever. Very clever stuff. Terry, have you got any more?
No, that's all we've got time for questions, apart from the fact I'm going to ask my head of events to book you in for a monthly show, both of you as a comedy act, I think. We'll give you a subject to talk on, and you can just while away an hour.
Tweedledum and Tweedledum.
Thank you, Suellen, very much, and thank you, Lucinda. That was the most fun, exciting evening. We've had a lovely time.
Really? Oh, we're so delighted. Good. And I didn't swear one. That's great.
And thank you, everyone, for supporting the virtual talks. We hope you've enjoyed them as much as we've done doing them. Good night.
Bye. We loved it. Bye-bye, guys. You're wonderful.